Hi, welcome to How to Use CAD. I'm Tom Norris and today I'm going to show you how to create scaled plans from PDFs using TurboCAD. Quite a few of our new clients ask us to create building regulation drawings for their project, but they don't have the CAD files, so quite frequently we end up having to redraw their projects from scratch using PDF files. As a designer, it's really important that you learn how to correctly scale the PDFs so that you can create a reasonably accurate set of CAD files. So stay with me for this tutorial and learn all the tips and tricks we use to create CAD files from PDFs. Right, so let's get down to work. So earlier in the day I took some PDFs and I took a few photos of drawings within the PDFs. We don't actually bring the PDF document into the model space. What we actually do is insert photos and we scale from the photos. So if I go to Insert, Picture from File, and I select a photo I created earlier in the day. So all I do now is click once and then drag, and when I'm satisfied with what I've got here, I click again and lo and behold we have a photograph. Now the photograph will be miles out, that's for sure, be miles out as in scale wise. So I'm using 1 equals 100 because that's very popular for architectural design, and it's most likely what this particular drawing was actually created in, because that's generally the one used for, that's generally the size used for architectural drawings for houses and flats, etc. Right, so let me show you how we deal with this. Now as you can see, we've got measurements in it, so absolutely easy. The problem most of the time when you bring in PDFs is that how do you know? You need something with a measurement in, or something you can scale, and for that you need a measurement. And most of the time we use doors, standard door sizes, which we know what a standard door size, and we scale from that. But if we've got the room measurements, well, I mean, that's going to make it really easy. Right, let me show you how we do it. Get the line tool and create a measurement, create a line here. Now let's leave it. Now I need to just check what size that line is, and we've got 64 meters. 64, if we check down here in the properties inspector, it's 64,581, and it should be, let me see, 4.6 meters, so it's about 59 meters out. So therefore this picture is scaled ridiculously large. Okay, so let me show you how we deal with it. Click on the line again. You can see it's 64. So what we're going to do now is type in its actual size, 4650. So once I do that, 4650, the scale here on the Y changes to 0.07. So I'm just going to copy that, click off the drawing, and then I'll click the drawing again, copy in the scale to the X and the Y. Oops. X and the Y, and watch this drawing shrink. My goodness, did that shrink? Yes, here we are. Where is it? Cool. Right, now let's have a little look. Right, the thing to do now is to actually check the measurements out again. So here we go, we draw another line, and let's see how close that is. So if we check out the size of the line I've just drawn, it should be close to the line, it should be close to 4.65, and it's 4005. So it's a little bit out. Let's see how accurate my line is. Yeah, so let's draw the line again. I think we get rid of this line and just redraw. Go up up a little bit, because I don't believe I went in far enough. The problem when you explode a drawing is that it becomes fragmented, as you can see, so I need to go to about there. And let's see what the size is now. The line size now is showing at 4521. The drawing is saying 4650, so it's out about 120 mil. Right, so let's check the width. It's not too bad. So again, move in a bit. And it's showing as 3950, 368. Well, that's a bit out actually. So I think we're going to have to do a little bit better than that. So let's try. See if we can rescale a second time. So if we just click off the drawing for a minute and pick up on this line, and this line is 3590. It should be 368. So if we do 3680, it's come up as 102. So we're slightly off. Right, click off the drawing. Click the drawing again. Up in the scale. Up it in. Drawing changes just a touch. Right, we're going to get rid of the lines. Yeah, you got to be patient on scaling, because it's important you get it as reasonably accurate. So now let's try again. So now the line is, or the distance is 3668, 366. So we're out about 20 mil. Now I'm happy with that. I'm going to do one more check. That's as good as you're likely to get from scaling PDFs into model space. So now let's see where we are. Check the line. Line is showing 4590, out maybe 50 mil. Okay, I can live with that. That's good enough for me. This is, if you check it out, it's about 1%, give or take 1% and 2% out, and that's as good as you're going to get with scaling PDFs. Bringing pictures in and scaling them or rescaling them to your workspace. So I'm pretty happy with that. So that's a go. So now that's stage one. Stage one is scaling. So I'm going to just clear off all these little lines here, and I'm going to go over it briefly again, just so that make it even more interesting. I think I'll insert another picture. So another picture from a job I did earlier. Okay, same routine. Just click anywhere on the model space, drag down and let it expand. Click again. You got yourself another PDF or a photograph of a PDF within your model space. So again, this one is sized, so it's going to help to make it easier. So do you remember the routine now? So we go to the line tool and we draw a line from from an area where we know what the measurement should be. So we take it down. Let's have a little look at what the line size is, and we do that by looking at the inspector or the property inspector at the bottom. So it says 22839. So what should it be? It should be 4660. So it's miles out. So what we do here is, you have your line, you have the size of the line there, size Y. So all we'd have to do here is type in what it should be. So it should be 4660. So we type that in, 4660, and then you get an automatic rescale over here. It says it's 0.2. So if we take a copy of that, Control C, and then we click off the photo, and then we click the photo again, and we paste that measurement in to the scale, X and Y, and click return. Photo jumps down. See, now it's on a comparable length or size to the other one. So we won't be too far out. It's probably in the region of 1% out. So let's do the measurement routine again. Get the line, and yeah, as you can see, the lines get blurry when we explode. So as we expand photos, the line becomes less visible. So we have to interpret a little, yeah. So here we go. Let's go again. And we're going to go in as far as there. Now we're going to check the line measurement as against what it should be. So we're showing 4570 in sizing. That's the size of the line, and the line is saying 466. So what are we at? We're at about 90. We're out about 90 millimeter. So let's see if it's any better on the width. It's mostly the issue will be to do with how you pick up on the line, or where you draw the line. So if I go again, try to find the tip of the arrow about there, and go in there, find the tip of the arrow. Let's see where we are. Check the line. The line should be 370, and we're 3626. So we're out a little. So my view here is we actually just redo it again, just a fraction. You know, it's our responsibility, I suppose, to get as close as we can to get the photo, or get it scaled as closely as we can to what it should be. So that's our responsibility. So we have to make the effort. So we're going to go one more time. We're going to do a rescale again. Of course, you're learning how to do it now anyway, which is great. You're getting reminders. So here we are. This line is, what have we got? We're showing it 4574. Should be 466. So we're going to change that here. 4666. And as you can see, the scale changed here. So we're going to copy that. Click off, click back on again, and then in both scales we changed the scale from 1 to 1.02. Click return. We're rescaled. Now what we do is we're going to check the measurement again, and what have we got? Let's see, this time it should be just a touch more accurate. And the line says 4651, 4660. It's 9 mil out. I'm happy with that. Extremely happy with that. So now what we have is we have a photo that's actually scaled. I'll get rid of that before we start talking. Right, now we have a photo that's actually scaled correctly. So from that, the next phase is to start drawing from this photo. So shall we pause or shall we carry on? What do you think? Well, I think we should carry on, and this one looks more interesting and perhaps less work, so I'm just going to get rid of that. And now we're in a position where we can start drawing from this scaled photo. Right, so how we approach this is perhaps you've never done it before, but let me give you an example of how we move forward. So I'm going to try and get a line going here, and yeah, just bear with me. So I'm going to focus on here. It'll become clear what I'm trying to achieve in just a minute. Yeah. Okay. That'll do it. Right. In fact, I'm going to leave that one out. Just work with two. Right, the idea is that you're trying to do it in the most time-effective way. Now, bit of advice here, if we're copying from PDFs, the wall sizes, which as we know already, they become blurry when you expand. I'll bring the photos up. So what we try to do is take a measurement from the inside rather than the outside, and we'll work out the thickness of the walls separately. But let me just give you an example here. So I'm effectively drawing the vertical lines. So the internal for the bay. Internal wall here. Okay, you got a clue what I'm trying to do yet? Right. Well, it should become clear quite soon. That's that corner there. Yeah, I'm not even talking at the moment, I'm focusing. Right, that's the bay. We need to do this little one here. There's no right way or wrong way to do this. It is what it is. Getting the idea? So these are all internal measurements. Corner of the bay. So most bays, when we're drawing them, we tend to do them at 45. And may not be strictly accurate, but it's close enough to give us what we need. So here, I'm going to draw at 45. So you can click the auto, or you can just press shift and then tab down. So let's get to the angle. The angle should be 45. That didn't work, did it? Right, we'll do it again. This time we'll click and let's just go again. So now I'm going to tab down and go 45. There you go. That's close enough for me. Right, so another quick way of getting the other half of the bay would be to just do a mirror image. Slide it over. Perhaps not. Now, getting the idea. Remember, these are all the internal measurements for the bay. Don't need that. Right, what else do we need? Chimney breast. Face of the chimney breast, normally 300 to 400 mil. As I said before, there's no right way or wrong way to do this. Just have to work with it. Whatever way you work, using your own, using your own artistic flair or imagination. As long as you achieve, this works out fine. Right, so we're getting there. This outer hallway, this was communal hallway. Work that out in a minute. So this one's clearly not right, so I'll bring that up. Now, this wall is load bearing, but in a Victorian house, this is generally about 150. What it is it's usually what we call a structural stud. Now, a structural stud will mean, this isn't quite right either, the thickness here, but a structural stud means 100 mil, or 4-inch timber, but it's put together differently. And then it's filled in with brick on edge, and then it's got a good chunk of plaster on it. So what we're going to do is allow 150. So if we do parallel lines here, I'm going to do 150. Tab minus 150. There we go. That should do it. And that's our wall. So I'm pulling lines from all over the place here. Well, it's a tutorial, so that's the idea. See my right click? I've got lines as well. But basically leaving all the options open. Right, so this should be where? This line should be there. Now, this is a communal hallway, and this would be what we consider to be the party wall. When it comes to party walls, general thickness is 2 bricks wide and a big chunk of plaster on either side. We allow, the general allowance, 285. So tab minus 285. There we go. And let me get to half of that. Up. Simple way of doing it. So to get the boundary line, we tend to do it dotted. We do 0.2 mil and we turn it red. Now it looks the same even though the line is thicker, but when it's later on when this is in a PDF form and you blow the PDF, the line is substantially thicker, so you do see it. Right, so let's try and square this up a little. Front wall would be similar allowance, 285. So what I'm doing here is to demonstrate how the wall is shaped. Even it goes in a little bit, and we usually do a little bit of boundary here. Doesn't have to be that long, just an indicator that that's the house next door or the property next door. Well, I think I've got this right or wrong, because this is the internal line, which means I've gone the wrong way on that. I'm going to do it again. It's tab 285. So yeah, you got to keep watching. It's quite easy to a mistake like that will cause lots of problems later on. But usually you can work it out, and then you have to undo it. 285. So what I like to do is show a little bit of wall, neighbouring property. There we go. That's looking quite right. So now we continue across, and we're going to finish off the bay. Yeah, that'll be interesting. That was the internal measurement. Now this wall, this partition between the hallway and what would have been the lounge, again is it's a thin wall, 100 stud timber or block or brick, depending on the actual age, and some plaster on either end. So we allow 130, 140 for here will be reasonably safe ground. So tab -140, and we've got our hall wall. Oops, where'd it go? It's not landing, so I'll do it again. Tab -140, and where's my line? You can see I'm making loads of little tiny errors, and this is part and parcel of doing design work. You overshoot, you miss, you get the line in the wrong place, and this is because it's live, you're seeing it exactly as how it is. So we go again here on a 285 tab, 285, and so getting these ones because at an angle, probably what I tend to do is go like so. It's not rocket science. Tab 285, tab 285. I made a mistake. What did I do? Tab 285. Here we go. So now let's do the lines we know. I have to use the N here. I'm hoping you actually know what the N does. The N helps you to snap, or if you take that off, take the auto off, it'll snap easier. Right, now you could stretch this line, but you'd be guessing, wouldn't you? So let's just do it this way. And the auto back on. And we got another line underneath, so we can get rid of that. I'm using the end to help me snap to get the other line, and you get yourself a bay. Now again, this is the other side of the house, so again we need to go tab 285 to establish the other side of the house. Leave it like so. And we need a little red line again to establish the boundary. So if you want accuracy, just do it like so. I'll be getting emails to say, oh Tom, you don't need to do it like that. We can do it like this or like that. And of course you'd be quite right, because with TurboCAD there's about a dozen ways of doing any particular thing. And you get into habits, and these habits become established over the years, and you kind of keep doing the same thing over and over the wrong way. But you know, that's pretty much okay by me. Right, so this is looking reasonably decent and accurate. So if I bring this one back up again, because we're not doing next door, just do half of that, but we can see how it works, the boundary. Right, let's pull this one back, or not, let's see, let's have a little look at the plan. It's showing upstairs. Well, upstairs would definitely most certainly happen there. So it may well be just the stairs, which I think we're going to show, and the door would be at the top rather than at the bottom. So let's assume that's the case. And we're going to do a little bit of partition here. Right, staircase, let's assume it starts here. This doesn't have to be entirely accurate, but representative of access upstairs. So, you remember the size of a Victorian staircase tread? Well, it's tab point minus 240. Going to rewind. Right, tab minus 2440, tab minus 240, tab minus 240. So that's going upstairs. That's going up to the, the flat above. So we're going to leave that bit, and should be a doorway here, but we'll deal with that in a moment or two. Right, you can see the doorway there. We'll deal with that shortly. And then there's a staircase going into the basement. Well, this wall, as I say, it's 150. That's the allowance. So we're going to carry on the wall as shown in the PDF. No idea what that is. I thought it was a door handle earlier, but now I realise it's the arrow from the measurement. But there you go. So what do you think? It's not rocket science, is it? Once you have a reasonably solid use of CAD, there's nothing you can't do. So let's get the stairs in going the other way. Yeah, a solid understanding of the basic design tools, and off you go. So perhaps if you've stayed with me and you're still watching this, then what I would say is just go on Rightmove, download a few plans, and it's a great way of getting some practice in. Tab 240. But pay attention, tab 240, to what I say about the thickness of the walls, because that's where most people get it wrong. I spent earlier part of my life on property development and ripping these houses apart, so I understand and know exactly how they're built. Tab 240. Intimately acquainted through hard work, property development, and making a few quid. So, right, now, this one doesn't come across, so let's see how thick this is. Sometimes it's a little bit thicker, a little bit. No, it's reasonably the same. So, I'm going to do there, carry on this stud wall. So what tends to happen here is that this wall was actually the main house wall. So when they build them, they built a back addition, but they continued the thickness on this being a double thickness, like an external wall, even though there's a back addition on. The reason for that is it takes the weight of the main roof. So they kind of had to. So let's do it again. 285. Tab minus 285, and we're getting our external wall. Leave that. And so it used to go across, and what you'll find in most Victorian houses is there's a little bit of beam here, and just over the hallway, and that's usually made up of a couple of joists strapped together. That's how it works. Right, so what would be nice is to do this again, tab 285, and put in just a little bit of wall to demonstrate, like we did at the front of the house. We pull the boundary line over there. Right, now if I remember correctly, this is an inside wall, this one here. So again, it's an external wall. It's the back addition now. Tab 285. So rather do it this way than cutting. And then once all the walls are in, I come back to the windows. We get all the windows and the openings and the doors, but we do that later on. So you can see now we're fully formed here. That's perfect. I need to put a few zigzags here. But now we're cooking on oil, as they say. Right, so now this one, partition wall. Again, it's most likely modern, because that's not necessarily how the layout would have been in the old days. So being a modern partition wall, it's 100mm of stud work, 12mm plasterboard on either side, and a little bit of plaster. So we allow 130, and 130 would be quite accurate. Tab 130. Right, let's link it up. And this one goes across, doesn't it? As I said, we'll do the cutouts for the doors later on. Here, it's easier to go this way. I always tend to get the line on the other side of the wall rather than start there. I tend to get it here just to make sure it's absolutely accurate, because occasionally this line might be a fraction short, then this line is set in, and so on and so forth. So it's just good practice to take from there, and then you're likely to have a more accurate wall. So external wall 285 again. Let's work that out. Minus 2885. Do again. Minus 285. There we go. And this one goes across. Tab 28. No, that's not a tab. Oh yeah, it is. Getting confused. There we go. Now, some people, what they do is they grade this. So I'll show you, if you're doing your drawing, what you do is you do something like this. And take that to the boundary. Do a little bit of a line again, and then you grade that one. So basically the cutoff, it changes to grey there, so even more demonstrates that it's another house. So we'll come back to that and see what we're doing. Right, so we're on the back edition, and let me see. Oh yeah, it's got a little it's got a little bit of a angle on it there. So in fact, finishes here. Right, tab minus 285. Now, how far in does it come? Let's see. I'll be getting the old 45 degrees out again. Don't need that anymore. Right, 45, except it's not 45. What is it? It's we're not doing 45 on here. Let me see. Hard to remember here. Let's do that again because I kind of mucked it up. Yeah, I'm not doing a particular 45 here. Just go so. And then we go tab 285. Oops, gone the wrong way. Tab minus 285. And we should have it quite soon. So I tend to do the horizontal first. Take off ortho because it'll snap easier using the N. Oh, that one didn't, but there you go. Now, that's for the inside. Sometimes I end up cutting these lines, but usually I do it twice here. I snap it twice and to make sure it's accurate. Okay, there we go. We've now got the outline. And that's pretty accurate. Back on Ortho. Move this one down. That's about it. We got all the lines for now. So we're going to take a pause here. I'm going to be right back. Okay, overall we're looking good. Few bits and pieces to add on still. I see that we have a little outside loo here, or what used to be an outside loo, so we better add that on. Again, inside measurement preferably. And the outside loo, again, is drawn wrong because even though it was just an outside loo, they generally built it in two bricks, so it wasn't single brick. So what we should be doing is 285 here. So we go tab 285, and yeah, they're pretty solid houses. Actually, I'm in the, even if I did happen to put them in the wrong place, yeah, those lines are in the wrong place. You end up using the bathroom in the wrong room. Right. So again, yeah, many of these, when people improve the homes, they tend to utilize the drainage again, and why not? Now on the back wall here, it depends, meaning sometimes they were extended, and then you had another one here on the neighbor's house. Now they may well have demolished theirs, but in any case, we've got to put in our one, which we've just done. Now, you can of course use modify tools here just to make the openings. So it's a matter of preferences, personal choice. As I've said many times, using TurboCAD, there are many ways to do the same thing. So, you know, some days you'll be in the mood for the modify tool, other days you'll be in the mood to do exactly what I'm doing right now. What I'm doing right now, this method takes probably around the same amount of time, but is more accurate than the modify, because you cut the line, take it out, so on. This is, I consider this to be more accurate, but either way, a lot of wall for a little loo, but there you go. Door opens out, usually here, possibly at this end, but the all it is a loo. Remember, there's no basin here, nothing like that. So it's rough and ready. Right, let me get rid of these lines. Yeah, in fact, yeah, I got that wrong. There we go. That's a phrase you hear frequently. Any designer, when they're putting bits and pieces together, they go, "Oh, got that wrong, got that wrong." Yeah, that's all part and parcel. Right, what's left to do? I know we got doors and windows, but we got a bit of chimney breast here. They built the kitchen into the chimney. They've opened up the center. That's quite common. If you don't want to take the chimney breast out, or you can't because you got a flat upstairs and they have a chimney, so generally what you do if you want to try and utilize the actual bulk of the chimney is you cut an opening in the middle, leave the two pillars, and that way you can make some use out of it. So we give the chimneys the same depth as the front room. So if you've stayed with me for the entirety of this particular sketch or draft, you'll see that it's not rocket science, but you need an eye for detail and perseverance, because sometimes you think, oh, I want a quick fix, I want to be able to do it with just drag a few lines here and there, and to be honest, that's not how it works. You really do have to take your time, and you have to have a responsibility to your client to get it reasonably accurate. And if you start going down the road of that'll do, then I don't think you necessarily have the personality trait to become a qualified technician or architect. Incidentally, I'm all technician rather than architect. I enjoy to build. I enjoy to build far more than design, and I do have the experience, so it's really useful that you have a good understanding of what the buildings are constructed of, so that you can make determinations, which you're doing all the time. Right, we have a front door here, so shall we start with that one, the opening? Let's zoom. I don't know what this affair here is. They've cut, and I understand I don't know what this little gap is. I understand the opening, and it's open plan, which is fine, but not the gap. Right, but either way, we just got to represent it rather than anything else. So what I'm going to do is put a front door in, because I think it should have had it, and this should be communal area. So we'll start off with, now we're starting to use the modify tools, but normally here what they did on these type of houses is they open up. That's too much. So if we do we try and balance this out. Yeah. That accurate? Nope. See what I mean about using the modify? And whereas if I measured out and drew a line, it would be more accurate. But this is generally representative, so it's okay. Right, modify up the top, object trim, cut and cut. Abandon the modify tool, get a few lines in. That's generally what they are. Right, so for this one now we're going to be cutting door openings, and standard interior door is 762. So what I'm going to do is size my my square to tab 762 tab. You've done that wrong. 762. There you go. So we've got a square 762, which is ideal for modifying. This doesn't have to be perfect. Again, representative. So when you're chopping here, don't chop right to the end, because you have to remember that when you have an opening for a door, you have door lining and architraves. So they always look best when you can see the architrave all the way around the door frame. So never cut right to the corner unless space actually is really restricted. So that's about right. So again, modify, object trim, and right. Now this bit here, that's where we said it was open plan. So what I'm going to do here is take a line rather than anything else, and the line comes from there. And let's assume it was a door's width. So close enough. Now, let's have a look at that again over here. See, I don't know why they did that. That's just plain silly. Gap here, a gap there. But obviously they have. But I'm not going to repeat it because I don't understand it. Now here, what they did was the kitchen is there. They brought out a stud wall here. So let's do that. So for the side wall or the other half of the kitchen, again, come out 630. Let's just click off here for a minute. And I haven't said it while I was doing it, but what we need to be doing is just save the drawings routinely. Yeah. TurboCAD I haven't, not that I'm aware of, but it doesn't. There isn't an autosave facility on it that it keeps saving every couple of minutes or whatever. Maybe there is. I've never really looked for it, but I tend to save every 5 minutes or so. But I have lost my work, so you learn from losing your work. Tab 630. So let's look at their kitchen plan. The kitchen came to the end. Now, can you imagine why they stopped it short here? Can you see why they stopped the kitchen short rather than going to the end wall? Here. I'll think about that for a moment and I'll explain it in just a second. Well, in fact, you kind of don't need to explain it because it's one of those things that explains itself. If we look at the drawing here, we've got a pair of French doors and they tend to be close to the boundary wall rather than the back addition side elevation wall. So in this case, let's see what they've done. Let's go up top and take a few lines. So we can take a line here, take a line there. Now perhaps I even should have shown you this before, but sometimes I'll take a couple of lines together and drag the two at the same time. Might be just a little touch quicker. There you go. Now we do a couple of short lines and there we go. So hopefully you're getting loads of benefit from staying the course here and watching a drawing actually take place. I would have loved to have been able to see this when I was younger. So let's have a look at the width here. These are very narrow French doors, that's all I can say. 740. That really is quite narrow, and I suspect drawn inaccurate. So all I'm going to do is French doors are generally around 1200. So let's go here. Tab 1200. Yeah, so they're not 1200, so we're going to go a little wider. We're going to go to a meter. How about that? 1, 2, 3. But I'm not putting in French doors at 700 because there's no such thing. They don't exist. And that's why I do this kind of work, because I know these things. Yeah, you can always go in a catalogue and look at French doors and look at the sizing. And you'll see that there's no French doors for 700 or 800. They just don't exist. Because there's so much going on with the French doors that you just wouldn't be able, you'd be all timber and little tiny strips of glass if you tried to do it for that thickness. So it's a no-no. Right, so we get a set of French doors in there in a while. Window here for the bedroom. Not entirely accurate there. What I'm kind of go for here. Makes sense to draw a short line at the end of the long line. Again, I could use modify here, but because I'm right at the end, I think I've already made my mind up that I'm not using the modify tool here. I'm using the old-fashioned cut and cut and cut and redo and redo and rehash, and it works fine. So it's a pretty accurate drawing in the sense that all the corners match up and join up and so on. So yeah, professional pride, that's what you need when you're doing this kind of work. So we got another door here. So for the doorway, yeah, it makes sense to use the modify tool. And again, well, if I was doing this again in building, I would use my tab 50, and I would be modifying from around 50 if I'm actually in creative or design mode. There you go. This is what I mean about not being accurate. When you use modify and you cut the lines first, or you draw in those lines first, it's reasonably accurate, but it's not. It's much more accurate to not to use the modify like that, like I just did. But like everything, you discover it. Right, so we got a door here for that room, and we got a door into the bedroom. So again, use the modify, and we get it balanced in the middle. Yeah, see now they just got a very wide door there. I don't know why you got so much space. Oh, they got a thicker wall there, big thick wall there, and of course there isn't a big thick wall there. That's why they're showing a larger wall. So we're going to put the door a little bit closer to the party wall. Object trim. Right. Yeah, we're good. We've got a chimney breast here. See, nearly forgot about that one. A little tiny chimney on the opposite side. So these tend to be smaller on the back edition. So let's do them 340. 340 isn't that small, but some of them are about 380, even 400 in the larger houses, but certainly in excess of 300, simply because of the thickness of the bricks. It can't be much less. Okay. Getting there. I'm sure you're watching this and you're thinking, hey, you missed the you made a mistake on the toilet here. Actually, I did earlier. I noticed it. So whilst I think of it, I might as well change it. This when I did one, this was the inside line, and when I did my 285 tab 285, I went in rather than out, so it should have been, as you should know by now, tab minus 285. So get rid of these lines. Now we've got a slightly deeper loo, which means you could use it with the door open. Sorry, with the door closed, whereas before you'd be really have your head up against the door. Yeah, it's all in the detail, as they say. I've got two lines here, and I don't even know why. Let's see. No, not anymore. Yeah. Right, so we put a door in there, and again the door now on the loo was substantially less. It was thinner, and In this one they put a little window here, and then they put the door here opening out. So you'll see how we represent that in a moment or two. Well, actually, let's do for a little window here. Oh, hang on, I can't, because I'm committed here. Not allowed, because I'd be using my personal preferences rather than what is actually showing in the drawing. So here we're going to have to do the door as per the picture, as per the PDF, not where I'd like to see the door. Getting carried away there. Right, now here, very simple. Right, we'll do that in a moment. I've just been given a pot of coffee, so I'm feeling a bit more refreshed. I'm still awake. This video is running about an hour plus at the moment. So bear in mind when you're, when you're studying these and when you're looking through them, you don't have to sit through them all. You don't have to sit through all of it in one sitting. You can come back a few times and do it bits and pieces. I think that's how I learned on the longer videos. I didn't. I might let the video run, but after 20 minutes or half an hour, I'd be losing my focus and concentration, or I'd want to be going back and stopping, and I'd want to be trying something I learned before I forget, and by carrying on. So work it out in any way, whatever works for you. Absolutely whatever works for you. So I'm going to do a few cutouts, and I'm going to start popping the doors and frames in. Now, if you want to see that happening in a video like this, you're going to have to leave a comment and ask me to do it, because otherwise I'll be doing it for no reason. Basically the tutorial here was all about how to copy or how to create drawings from PDFs. Now, within the tutorial, you've seen me bring the PDF or a photograph of the PDF into the drawing. You've seen me scale the PDF to the appropriate size using the measurements, and you saw I did that 2 or 3 times, or 3 or 4 times in fact, to get it right, and until we had a photograph that was actually scaled correctly. And then the second important element was that before I started creating anything from the photo, I put another photo up here so that I could draw horizontal and vertical lines. And as a result, you can see that we've got an outline for a lovely outline on this particular flat. And we're ready to put doors and windows in, but like I say, I'm not quite sure if I should be doing it and if I should be carrying on doing loads of more detail, because it's outside of the remit, in the sense that it was all about teaching you how to create drawings from the PDFs and photographs. But if you leave a comment and say yes, you'd love to see me do the doors and the windows, then if I get a few comments like that, then I'll certainly oblige. Okay, well, that's the end of the tutorial, and thank you very much for staying with me. Hopefully you've learned loads and you'll be able to apply it and one day be making a living from it. So thanks very much. See you on the next video.